Hello and welcome to Faith Matters. This is the show where we take a spiritual perspective on life across the Merseyside region. Today we're at the Place to Be, which is part of St Aidan's Church in Speke, and we have Jill, who's the vicar of St Aidan's Church, and June and Joyce, who are members and involved with various projects here. Jill, how long have you been vicar here in Speke?
I've been here for nearly 10 years.
And where were you before?
I was a curate at Revd, St Bartholomew's, but for a little while also in my curacy at St John's, Nottingham.
Right, so you've been involved in kind of estate type of ministry for quite a long time.
Yes, different ones, yeah.
And are you a Scouser?
I am a Scouser, yes.
You are?
I grew up in West Derby, and I only moved away for 3 years, but I didn't like it so much, so I came back.
You came back. Okay, and June and Joyce, you've been living here a long time on Speke?
Yeah. Yes, on and off since I was 6, and I'm 69 in June.
Right, well you're looking pretty good on it. And John,
I've
how long have you been
about
here?
7.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, stayed in the same house, yeah.
Yeah. So you've been part of the church here, St Aidan's, for all that time?
I've been coming for, it must be about 17 years off and on.
Yeah, okay. So what's the history of the church here on Speke?
Well, it grew up as the estate grew, so 40s, 50s. The church, the old St Aidan's, was actually built in 1957, and it was at that time right in the centre of Speke, where there was a great big shopping centre, and that was right in the middle of it, and it was a very big church, and so that was how it began, really. But kind of 50 years later, the building itself was not very good, and it was not fit for purpose, really. And so it was then really that we decided we had to do something.
And that was under your leadership, changes took place?
Yeah, that was kind of, when I got here in 2006, they'd already been having conversations about what they could do or what they should do, but it was, in practice, we had to do something, so yeah.
So here we are at the Place to Be, and we'll come to that in the second half of our show. But what I want to take us to now is, what are the issues facing people in Speke now, do you think, ladies?
Well, I think a lot of people are on benefits, and a lot of people struggle trying to get work, of course, and the housing's quite good, and there's a lot of elderly people in good housing. There's some of my friends just moved into a sheltered accommodation, and they're very nice. There's only one big shopping centre at the moment, which is Morrison's, but saying that, most people can get there by bus or taxi. And we used to, as Jill said, we used to have a big shopping area. It was called the Parade, and it was right facing St Aidan's Church. And we had numerous shops there. But we just have a couple of little, grocery shops scattered about that are open good times, say bread and milk and things like that. But also, I think there's a lot of disabled people in Speke, a lot of people that find it hard to get round. Well, different churches have different things, lunch clubs, and we've got different things here. So people do get encouraged to come out of their homes and join in and be, find social places to go. So you don't have to be lonely if you can get out, The young ones, there's not as much in Speke for the young ones. When I was younger, there was a lot more, but now the community centres and different things are closed. But saying that, then you get people hanging around corners and things like that. But most of the children have all computers and everything, so they stay in anyway, don't they, for that.
I think as well it's the same everywhere really.
Of
There's,
course.
you know, there's the problems that every kind of suburban place will face. But I think poverty can be in so many different guises really. And that's not just financial. You know, there is a lot of educational poverty, really. Although our schools are absolutely fantastic, you know, kind of literacy and everything. It's not always great. And June was saying about transport. There's a lot of people don't have cars, although a lot of people do. So you can't generalise, really. Yeah.
Okay, and now, which one of you ladies is involved with tango? Is that's you? Okay. Tell us about tango. Didn't that originate over in St Helens Way at St Mark's Haydock? Yeah. Tell us what's
I mean, June was at the beginning of tango, wasn't you, June? Because June left all the good.
Mary and I, my friend, started tango about 4 or 5 years ago, and we'd done it for a long time. But my friend isn't as well as she used to be, and so we gave it up not long ago.
So I took over from June.
Right, so what is it? What does it stand for? It stands for something.
Together as neighbours giving out.
Right, okay. So what kind of things do you do with tango?
Tango, we have the calf Mondays and Tuesdays, and Wednesdays open as well. Angela does Wednesdays. Mondays is they can come in, you know, a cup of tea, whatever snack that they want, have a chat. You can usually you'll find people will come in here, and because this is the prayer area, they like to sit and have a prayer.
Oh, that's good.
And then they'll go. There's lots of new things coming in now, lots of clothes. People are coming in to buy some clothes because they're quite cheap. It's just kind of a place most of the time where people come in and like just sit and chat, very friendly. We also have the food bank where you get the odd person who may be in need of a bag of food who we can help.
Yeah. So you're basically creating a sense of community, really, a place where people can belong. Lonely people.
Like today's Crafty Cafe Day, isn't it?
Right. And what are you doing at Crafty Cafe Day?
Basically, we make different things and we invite people to come and make them with us. We do Christmas cards, birthday cards. At the moment, we're doing Easter cards. We do. We're making colouring little jars with a pattern on for. We're involved with an orphanage in Malawi, and what we do is we're saving in these little jars for uniforms. We've not long bought them a cow from us, you know, to supply milk for the children, and we're involved a lot with this parish in Malawi, and of course it's an orphanage. We do beadwork. We do painting. We do lots of different things.
In the past as well.
We've knitted for the women's hospital for the baby units. We've knitted for at the moment we knit like things like a scarf that is called a hug.
Right. Okay.
And if anybody's not well or is bereaved or needs just a hug, we give them this little scarf.
I think it's wonderful what they do and what they make, and it's really just lovely things that they do. But I think one of the really special things about Crafty Cafe is that it's a gathering place, and sometimes for older people, sometimes they can be very lonely, and whatever they're making, it's an opportunity for them to get out and to have a good gab, really, and a nice cup of tea and company.
I mean,
there's those two things.
They say that loneliness is one of the biggest issues, and quite overlooked, really. I think as the government and and even the church concentrates on some other issues, and they're worthy issues. We tend to overlook loneliness. Would you say that's true?
It can be for different people. It's not necessarily elderly, it can be for the young ones. Some people just can't get out. Some people are very shy and,
Yeah.
and don't socialise, because we always make people welcome when they come in here, whether it be just for a look or for a chat.
Yeah.
And so you consequently you ask them, tell them it's a church, and ask them would they like to pray or things like that. So you're involved in them.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to our commercial break now, and then afterwards, when we come back, we'll just ask you a bit more about the vision behind A Place to Be. So join us after the break for Faith Matters. Welcome back to Faith Matters. We're here at A Place to Be in Speke with Jill and June and Joyce. Now, you were telling me in the break there that, Jill, that this actually is the church. There's two churches here on Speke, and your husband runs the other one, is that right?
Yeah.
But this building here, A Place to Be, is actually the church. How does that work?
Well, when we had to close our traditional church building, we wondered, well, what are we going to do? We did actually move into the school, to Middlefield School, but that wasn't going to last forever. And we were just looking for spaces in Speke, and this one was empty. And we rent this from Liverpool City Council. And we thought, well, what are we going to be? What are we going to do? And really, we focused on the gifts of the congregation, really. And most of them are so good at putting the kettle on, chatting to people, that we just thought, well, that is actually the type of church that we need to be. And so that's what we do. And we are a cafe and we are a church. This is where we worship, this is where we reach out to our community, and this is where we are church.
Well, Joyce, you're the church warden here. So what's it like on Sunday? You know, we just
One
spoke.
of the church wardens.
You're one of the
There are
church.
two.
There are two.
There are
Yeah.
two, yeah.
Well, some churches only have one now, don't they?
Yeah.
So, but you have two. So
Yeah,
you're
we
doing well.
move about. I'm in the All Saints or St. Aidan's, and the Debbie will swap around.
So,
we have a change.
what does worship look like here on a Sunday?
On a Sunday, worship is great.
June says it's joyous.
Oh, it's
She said to me
lovely.
earlier.
It's lovely.
Yeah, what do you do?
Great. What do we do? I come in, it's communion, set up communion for Jill. Greet the people when they come in. I mean, everybody will come in and have a part, because we have Emily, two memorials for ladies. It's different people on a Sunday, and they'll come in and they'll set up the teas and the coffees or whatever before we start. And it's
You
just
have toast, right?
toast, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a lovely atmosphere when you come in. It's just, as soon as the door opens, it's just great. It's just it's a lovely time, a lovely worship.
And so, what's the word? Is it guitar or piano or?
It's very.
You just sing.
Well, in the past, it's just been CDs, because that's all we've had. But we have a newish curate now called Katie, and Katie does play the guitar. So sometimes we have the guitar to lead us in our worship as well. So yeah.
Okay.
And we don't really use books and stuff, do we? We don't have
No,
any
it's the big screen,
sheets.
the
We
big
use
screen now.
the screen. We use the TV screen.
Only the books if Jill's not here, and we've got somebody who just
in
the
case.
screen.
So it's what you would call user friendly, really, or just friendly to anybody who wants to come in, able to engage with it easily.
Yeah, and I think there isn't a plan to the I was saying that there is a plan, but it's not a formal thing. I mean, sometimes a lot of it can just be chatting as church round the tables, eating toast and drinking tea. Sometimes most of the service can be that, and there may just be a question to think about. We would always somewhere have a Bible reading. We love to sing, so there's usually singing, but not always, because if we're going to be like normal people from outside the community, it's not normal to stand up and sing all of a sudden. So we don't always do that,
We do out of the box as well, do
We do a thing called out of the box, and something comes out of the box for us to talk about and to think about. So we do various things. And we share bread and wine.
And it's interesting as well because the people who come in of a weekday occasionally now started coming in on a Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we're recording now, we can hear people in the background. This is which is great. This is a very well used building. What's the vision? What's the long-term vision? Do you have one, or you
in a way, it's been the same vision, I think. In 1957, just as we were moving out, I found the echo from 1957, and obviously they were recording what had happened in Speke, and it said St Aidan's, a church that's with a new look and a sense of adventure for Speke. And when I saw that, I just thought, actually, whatever God wanted for it in 1957, he actually still wants that for us now. He wants us to be a church with a new look and a sense of adventure. And all of the congregation were, when they realised they had to move, they were happy to move. And I think if I said tomorrow, look, God's calling us to move elsewhere, they wouldn't cling to the building. They would be, am I right? They'd be happy to move. And so I think that is the vision still, to be a church with a new look. And certainly I think, that this is slightly different maybe than most churches, but to have that sense of adventure really. And I think we're doing that as much as we can really. I would say though as well that sometimes on a Sunday we are actually packed to the rafters really. And it can be a bit squashed in, and we can run out of seats.
And bread.
Yeah. So we are, well, I'm thinking where else do we need to go? I'm not thinking that we're going to have to build a church with a pointy roof or anything, but what else does God want us to do next? Is there somewhere else he needs us to be? Maybe on I don't know. So that we're open to new possibilities, aren't we, of things to do.
When in 1957, I was here then, and people got asked in Speke would they give £1, and each person give £1, I think it was £1, for a brick, and the people of Speke built St Aidan's, and each person who could gave some money to build it, and I got married there, and my granddaughter was christened there. And I renewed my vows there in that church. And of course I've been, a follower so many years. And I came back about 10 years ago with as they happened, Jill and Jeff had just been. So.
Okay, do you think what you're modelling here, is it being translated elsewhere across the diocese? Do you think you're modelling something that other churches could take on, and particularly in areas like this?
I think there's been quite a few people who have just come to see what we're doing, and how we've worked it all out, and what it's meant for us. So maybe in that respect, it is a bit of a model. We're just working it out a step at a time, really. We haven't had a book to say, oh, this is what we want to be. We've just worked it out, starting with the gifts of the congregation, and taking, listening to the community, what it is that they need. And so for us, we're just taking it a step at a time and trying to work out what God wants us to do. But maybe it is a model for other churches.
Yeah. And the community are aware of what goes on in here, obviously they are.
Yeah, again, it's little by little, isn't it? Because sometimes the church has not done itself any favours with how we've treated people in the past. So sometimes people can be a little bit wary once they know it's church. But I think this is where word of mouth is so important, and friendships really are so important. And you know, one of the things that happened with the disciples, they kind of brought their friends, didn't they? And you know, said, you've got to come and see this. And I think sometimes that's what we do here, isn't it? You just say, you know,
well, everyone supports each other, no matter whether it's some joy or some sadness. We all pray for each other, and we're all the congregation and the people who come in. If anybody's sad, you go to them and comfort them, and the same with if someone's happy about something, you give, you know, you ask them.
I think as well, one of the things we try to be really is to just hold on to this quite lightly, really, because God may say at any point, you know, I want you to do this next, but we find it that's very important that we're not just doing stuff in here. This is just a bit of a base for what we can do here, but we really try and do stuff outside as well, outside these walls, really. That's quite important to us.
We do things called Star, and that's normally round Easter and round it's a harvest and Christmas
as well.
And we've done prayer walks too as well.
Prayer walks, yeah. And that means that we make something, and it's given out to old people's homes, and we take at Easter we'll take some cake, and at Christmas the same, and have a cup of tea with them.
Well, that's great. We've come to the end of our programme now. Thank you very much for taking part. I think it's a great example of the Bishop's vision to literally lay out a table in every community, and it's been really great to be with you ladies today, and I'm inspired. I'm going to come back to one of your services, I think.
Yes.
And so join us next time for Faith Matters on Bay TV.